All right, I'm continuing on from part one of this unboxing of all the cards from the Gambler's Chest. And I'm just picking up where I left off. So these are the AI cards now for the Gambler. He's got heaps of cards. Oh man, does that keep going? And then there's another guy. Okay. The Flower Knight. Those must be some correct. All right, so here's the Gambler who he could also be the final boss. I don't think he is. I think you defeat this guy at the end of your campaign, and then another guy comes. Knee bomb. He sounds like a professional wrestler. Elbow smash. Make your own luck. Palm strike. Rising knee. These are all pro wrestling moves. This is really funny. So, Dice of Destiny, God of the Games, critical failure. The dice are involved. Dice bag, double or death. So the Gambler, of course, seems to, besides his professional wrestling theme, his actions seem to revolve a bit around chance, of course, because he's a gambler. All right, so these are a few for the Flower Knight. These are probably, if you have the Flower Knight expansion, which is a separate one, these are probably cards to update that expansion because it's one of the first ones. So that, they're constantly play testing this game and making adjustments to improve it. So these will be to go with that to make that, to sort of unbreak something they might have found that's broken. So here's some AI for the Crimson Crocodile. Not all of them. We were looking at some before. Yeah, see, it's weird the way these are packed because they're sort of all terrified. I love the artwork. They have a few artists that they use, and they all do just incredible illustrations. It's like one of the fun parts of this game is you're going through and having these intense experiences, and then there's this illustration there that just sort of sums it all up. Strange resources. So these are things that you can... Blood Diamond Tear, Lustrous Tooth. So these are things that you can get from your monster that are a bit more unusual, and I'm guessing much harder to get. Death metal. So when you hunt a monster, especially if you hunt like a higher level monster, maybe a level 3 monster, so maybe some of these strange resources you might not be able to get unless you hunt a hard enough to find monster, or the circumstances are just right. All right, so we've got some more. What is it? Smug Singers IR. What does IR stand for? Crimson Gland. So this is more resources. IR resources. And this one's actually for the Crimson Croc. Indomitable Perfect Organ. Crimson Gland, Diamond Scab, Diffuser Heart, Secret Stone. So the Crimson Crocodile, of course, is all about this sort of blood stuff. And there's some stuff with a huge death metal ingot. Oh, cool. Miracle Liver, that's handy. Violet Droppings, Violet Plume. Is this for the king still? No, that's for the Phoenix. Some Belly Steel. So Phoenix isn't part of this one. The Phoenix is part of the base game, but again, there's cards included in here that just improve and augment. Fused Feet, what's that one for? Oh, that's for the Smog Singers. Milky Milktooth. Delightful. And what is this card? Jack of Dreams, Impervious. Interesting. When you attempt to wound this, the imprisoned survivor suffers a random severe injury and falls out of the card. Archive Triumphi Jack and place the prisoner adjacent to the monster. If they are dead, place a survivor corpse terrain tile there instead. Interesting. And here's some, I don't know what these are. This will probably be cards specific to one monster. Yeah, this is something that the Crimson Crocodile does. Sparkling Belly, Sparkling Blood, Colony, Coagulated. So these are the coagulated cards. First Strike. So this has to do with the mechanics of the way you fight the Crimson Crocodile. That's really cool. So he has his own special cards, the same way Atlas has those sword fighting cards. Diffuser Heart, Blood Secret. What is this? Smog Singers. So these are the cards that this is basically the basic action of each monster. And it lets you know. So there's a level 1 king, a level 2 king, and level 3 king. And you can see at level 1 you get 8 basic, 8 advanced, 3 legendary. But at level 3 you get 8 basic, 12 advanced, 7 legendary. So they get much, much stronger. Their movement is further, their toughness is higher, their speed goes way up, and their damage goes up as well. The God Hand, the Gambler. So the Gambler is only level 4. That's interesting. And the God Hand is also only level 4. There's no way to choose to fight them any other way. Crimson Crocodile goes up to 3. Atlas goes up to 3. And here's some armor sets. So if you get all this, you can get the Sprinter armor. So these are really cool because this is a new thing where you're able to combine armor from different sets, like the White Lion Cloak plus the Sprinter Helm plus the Screaming Skirt. So that's from the Screaming Antelope. So you hunt these things and you can make this specific armor. So these are the armor patterns, I guess. The Singer armor, the Imitation Butcher armor, the Crimson armor. That's cool. And the Clothed and Satiated hybrid armor set. Interesting. Best Hunter armor? Death King armor? Male and female? Okay. That's neat. Little just handy guides. You get those cards and go like, I want to get all this together and I can make this specific armor set. And having all that gives you kind of a cool bonus. So here's some more II cards. There's one for the Hand, which is a nemesis from the base game. Not to be confused with the God Hand, who's like a boss from this expansion. Bloody Hands. So these are more Smog Singer AI cards. Overtone Singer, overperforming Singing Whale. That's not good. Oh my goodness. There is a lot here. I haven't even gotten through all the standard size cards yet. Hunt events. So these are generic hunt events. Scout event, Bone Eaters, Bone Eaters, Bone Eaters, Bone Eaters. Ark Survivor hunt event. Interesting. Kingdom Death. And that just says M. What is it? Vibration damage. Second Stomach. Indomitable. It's a trait. What are these cards for? This damage permeates ruining armor and organs alike. Do not roll hit locations dice. This cannot be dodged. Cool. So there's a lot of these ones. M's. Persistent injury. It's got that code. So there's a cipher you can get. People have already figured it out. So you know what that means. Here's a bunch of ones with eyes on it. I stands for innovations. So innovations are things that you can discover and figure out to improve your settlement. So like the romantic innovation adds survival. It add the romantic philosophy card to the philosophy deck. Reduce the Lumi cost to learn knowledge at the forum by 1 to a minimum of 1. So as your society progresses, like if you can concentrate not just on like building new gear, but you can figure things out, like dreamless language, silent dialect. So you can have your settlement learn sign language, very useful, especially if you're trying to sneak up on something. A shattered blade, is that an innovation? It looks like it. Morgue, a nice way to deal with all the corpses that pile up in your settlement. Nutrition, drafting table. And you can see a lot of these have like a dice component where you roll and there's a little table there that tells you what happens. Death Pact, Pictograph, Song of Concord, Stone Plate, Supreme Cuisine. That's a cooking thing. Water of Life. So I kind of like the innovation thing. You have that in the base game as well. And it's just sort of, you can't do all the innovations. It's you and the more that you get, the more open up to you. So you start off with 1 or 2, and then by the end, you're you're choosing a random card from a big deck of possible innovations, and it really will change the course of your settlement, like the choices that you have to make once you do that. So this is terrain. These are things that when you're doing your showdown, you draw some terrain cards and put that out on your showdown board. So this is stuff you can interact with while you're fighting the monster. Fighting arts. Bloodzerker. Oh, that sounds interesting. Glass Mask. These are Crimson Crocodiles. You can see right up in the corner there. There's that little picture of the Crimson Crocodile. Monster Empathy. So this is a Smog Singer one. Relentless. So after fighting with these monsters, you learn stuff from them. You observe the way that they fight, and you change, and that can develop into like a fighting style that can benefit you on your hunts, and then make your characters stronger. Disorders. So these, of course, are things that happen along the way because it's all very bad. You might catch the disorder of Schadenfreude. You take pleasure in others' suffering. When another survivor suffers a severe injury, you are overcome with glee. You are knocked down and gain +1 insanity. So these are interesting because you basically as you go crazy in this game, that protects you, but it also, you can pick up these disorders, which can be good and bad. A single glimpse of red, and that is all you can see. Whenever a survivor gains a bleeding token, suffer the frenzy brain trauma. Limit once per round. Bloodlust. Phobophobia. Phobophobia. You fear. At the start of your act, if you have 0 insanity, gain the Terrified Survivor status card. Interesting. Directional Dyslexia. Subjugated. Brain Smog. And Pacifist. Okay. And then here's some cards with a C on them, which says Character. Weapon Master. The Watched. A force watches over you. When you depart, add 1 to every other. So you can add. It looks like you can make characters for your survivors. This is super interesting. The Unlucky. The Tough. The Magma. Your blood runs hot. Gain +1 speed. Mighty. The Parent. You always find your way home once you are parent. If you would die, you would inexplicably survive. Limit once per lifetime. Well, that's handy. The Queen. At the start of your act, you may forfeit your lightning bolt thing. What's that called? Action. If you do, all other survivors gain +1 speed until the end of the round. The Shadow. The Spear. So these correspond to the narrative sculpts that come with this. So the minis, instead of having gear grids where you can build sort of like customized minis, it has specific designs that look like these characters. The Tough, the Unlucky. That poor guy. Yeah, we've already been there. Okay, cool. All right, moving on. Oh my goodness, my back's starting to hurt from hunching over. We're up to 13 minutes on this one. We're going to have to do probably at least one more video. All right, so this is hit locations again for the Gambler. Double chins. Wound. Oh yeah, because he's got 2 faces. Super dense. Wound. The monster is not pleased. It takes the dice that wounded its tough chins, and alters it. Use a pen to blot out 4 until it looks like a 1. This change is permanent. All 4 rolls result from this dice becoming forever. Archive this card. So this guy sucks. He ruins your dice. Well, look at that. See, like rolling a 4 actually means you've rolled a 1. So you have 2 1s on that dice now. Gambler's first face. Gambler's second face. The Gambler's second face stares only at you. Suffer -2 luck until the end of your attack. Critical failure. For the rest of this attack, after rolling a die, rotate it so that its face is 1. If for some reason you cannot, you die. Oh man, this guy sucks. I mean, the plus side is if this happens, this will be towards the end of your game. This change is permanent. So I think that means you're supposed to keep it like that for all future campaigns. Spear of Snores. Impervious. You may cancel your attack. If you do not, the monster leaps adjacent to you and on top of as many of other survivors as possible. If it impales you with its arm, killing you instantly. Oh, yeesh. Tattered purse, tattered robes. So this guy is not fun to wound. So if you hit him, you draw one of these hit locations, and that could result in your instant death or permanently altering the dice in the game, or hurting the monster. But you have to do that. There's no other way to win the game but to face this monster and take what happens. All right, so this is the hit locations for the Crimson Crocodile. 99 finger spine, blushing body. So what is it? Fingers stretch outward, revealing the cache of stone faces the monster has been clutching. Critical wound. Your attack shatters a translucent scab covering the stone faces on the monster's back. Find sparkling upper back, coagulated, and set it aside. Then reshuffle the hit location deck and place the card on top. The persistent injury exposed back. The monster panics, making it easier to hit. It gains -1 invasion token. So the Crimson Crocodile is a little bit more fun to fight, I guess, depending on what you consider to be fun. If you like being absolutely destroyed, it looks like the Gambler is the one to do. This guy's no rollover, though. Like, this is... I think I get the impression the Crimson Crocodile is way tougher than the White Lion. Salted Snout. Reflex. The monster rolls without turning. Full move the monster to the left on collision. Blood Signature. Trap. Oh, I hate the traps. Reshuffle the hit location decks. All survivors are doomed. The monster's many fingers gesture in a hypnotic wave. The attacker gains the terrified survivor status card. The monster accelerates your heart rate. Gain the death count survivor status as well. If you already have it, place a death count token on the card. The monster giggles, full moves away from all survivors, and turns to face the attacker. What a jerk. Wrinkled gums. All right, so that's that guy. He's going to be fun. And this is Atnus, the anti-Santa. Atnus, of course, is Santa spelled backwards. I think during the campaign people voted, and they voted to have the Krampus as a character. So this was the Kingdom Death version of a Krampus, an anti-Santa Claus. Dangling bell, dashing coat button, fancy. So it's this horrific Santa-like character who goes around and, he's some sort of master sword fighter, and his name is the Child Eater, so I'm assuming he eats children. Luxurious coat. Wound. Perform basic action. Target the attacker. Critical wound. You tear off a strip of cloak. Gain a leather. Unless you're blind, you glimpse the churning, wailing anatomy through the frayed cloth. Suffer brain damage. Wound. The luxurious folds. Looks like most of the attacks are just hitting his cloaks. Noble appendage. If maimed, jellyfish is in play. Inflict an automatic critical wound. Tentacles slither through the air, breathing frigid mist. Unless you are wearing fur or heavy armor, suffer bash and gain -1 movement token. Critical wound. The noble appendage burst open, spraying frozen gore into Atnus' face. The monster gains -1 accuracy token and archive this card. Seems like he's just a big tentacly mess under a cloak. Stance punked. Atnus stands and faces the attacker. -4 toughness to wound this location. Wound. Atnus transforms pain into shrieking laughter. Perform limbic stimulation. Sword cane. That's the trap. Okay, cool. How are we going? All right. Open the next one. Oh, getting sleepy. All right, so this is just the next bit of locations, bit of stuff. I'm just going to stop it here because we're at about 19 minutes, and I'll start another one. So we'll just pick up where we left off in part 3.